right?
Do you want to do any introductions before we start, or now that we're starting?
But I like to make that like part of our start. Right? You could, I don't know. There's a lot of people here. I don't know if you want to go through maybe very quickly everyone. I don't know how Ralph would.
I don't care. That's up to you, Maria.
I really hate WebEx because I can't see everybody on one whole screen. Anyway, all right.
You can go on the top, and
like four boxes.
Hover over. They'll say layout.
I know, but it's because we share your screen. It's only 4 people I get. I don't get everybody.
I mean, we have a presentation, so if I take out the material, you'll see everyone here. But that's the best that I can do. But we do have a presentation. I'll bring it up now, and you just let me know how you want me to go about with this.
Okay, hold on. So.
Happy.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna. I'm sorry, but LaShawn, where are you? Where are you from? It just says Human Resources Professional. Is there a particular agency?
So I wouldn't broadcast it, but I work for the City of New York.
Oh.
So I actually work for the Civilian Complaint Review Board.
You're doing this as a personal?
So this is my give back. I've been an HR professional for 15 plus years. Don't tell nobody. I have a master's degree in human resources. I'm specialized in talent acquisition, aka recruitment, but I've been in multiple departments in human resources. So I do the hiring for the agency that I work for, and I do the hiring for all the employers I've worked for, quite honestly, and some other stuff. But I've always gone back. I graduated with my bachelor's from City College, so I go back to City College a few times every year and do these for the college students. I try to go to nonprofit organizations because I know I would like everyone to get up every day and go to work with me, and I know most people want to. But obviously there are people who are in different positions when they come from their employment perspective, right? Some people are transitioning into new careers. Some people have been displaced and they want to find a job in that same industry or something similar. Some people are new to the workforce, right? Maybe they were stay-at-home mom or dads or whatever other circumstances, and now they're just stepping out. And recruitment has changed over the years. If you all remember, there used to be a time when we would send our resumes in the mail, and then we would fax our resumes, and now we all apply online, right? I know if someone tries to put a resume in my hand, I'm going to look at them like they're crazy, right? Because you can apply to the job posting. So I wanted to contribute, obviously, as a member of the community board, and I wanted to contribute to our constituents, and hopefully I can, help.
All right. I'm just trying to get the information in for the minutes. Okay. So it looks like
Miguel's here. You have Delvis, Miguel, LaShawn, yourself.
You have quorum. You have 4 out of 7. So you have your quorum.
How are you, Mr. Crespo? Hi, Bobby. Okay. All right, so let's get started.
So it's a little lengthy because I have my full presentation, but I promise I will go through it quickly.
Okay, just give me a second. Usually, I'd like to welcome folks for coming to this meeting, for taking the time out from their schedule and their time. So thank you very much for coming tonight. And so, as you heard, LaShawn has a presentation she'd like to give regarding resume and interviews, workshops, and assistance. So, we can go ahead with that. And so, and again, my name is Maria Torres. I'm I'm the chair of the Economic and Municipal Services Committee. So thank you all for coming, and thank the other board members who aren't necessarily part of this committee for joining in. Thank you. Okay, so we'll get started. So LaShawn, 6:06 is what I have. So go ahead.
Okay. Next slide, please. So the purpose of the workshop, obviously, is to help everyone improve their resume and interviewing techniques. The focus on your mental preparation, right? You got to get your mind right when you go in for an interview. It's game on. The writing portion, helping everyone to understand the importance of being, simplistic and brief, but obviously have great depth and organization to your resume. And some do's and don'ts for interviewing I always like to share with people. How to apply for a job. Again, it has changed over the years, and there are some things that are tried and true, and there are some things that, people still think work that I'm happy to tell you they no longer work. And then social media. I love, especially for the young people, to explain to them the good, the bad, and the ugly about social media and how it can impact them looking for a job or even being considered to be hired for a job. Next slide, please. So applicant mindset, again, it's mental preparation. Think of the things that maybe an employer will ask you. There are always those questions about, why would we pick you, right? Why did you choose to apply to this job? What do you know about our organization or whatever? Think of it in that space, where and how to apply. There was a time where everyone went to Monster and Career Builder. Well, those places still exist, but not so much have the lion's share any longer. Most people now are going to LinkedIn, and also people are going to Indeed.com quite often. They're both great. LinkedIn to me is more career driven. You won't find too many hourly jobs there. You may find them, but not a lot. Indeed.com probably is better for that if you're looking for immediate work. Companies that are looking to hire very quickly. But again, sometimes they cross over for diversity purposes. Also, the Department of Labor, right? There are still tons of employers that have federal contracts, and legally they have to post their jobs with the Department of Labor. So that's still a good source to go to as well. Cover letter. Most employers these days, believe it or not, are looking for cover letters. It really does depend on the job you're applying to. Again, hourly versus salary jobs. If you're looking for, fast food type stuff, then you probably don't need the cover letter. But if you're looking even for a receptionist position or some sort of clerical position, sometimes they want the cover letter. A lot of people don't know what to write with the cover letter. I always say stick to 1 to 2 brief paragraphs. It's really just to show about, what is the job you're applying to? List the title. Where did you see the job posted, right? Why are you interested in this job? And, maybe 1 2 quick things about yourself that relate to the job, right? Maybe some skills you want to highlight in a cover letter, but it should be brief. It does not need to be a long cover letter. The resume, I always tell people, the resume gets you the interview. You get yourself the job. I have never hired anyone solely on the resume, but if you can't get past the recruiter's eyes with your resume, you'll never get a chance to walk in the door and actually sell yourself. So your resume should be error-free. I mean, look at it again and again. Give it to someone you trust and let them look at it. Catch all the I's, that you didn't dot, all the commas you misplaced. Make sure that it's, aligned properly. Make sure that it's organized. It should be in chronological order from your most recent position to your last. I would say for those who are over a certain age, seasoned people, I would not go past 10 years. I wouldn't list, the year I graduated college. Unless you're a young person and you just recently graduated, that's different. That should be on the top of your resume. It should show that whatever you graduated from, whether it's high school, any programs, whatever. But someone who's a little more seasoned, take the years off of don't age yourself. Ageism is real. Interviewing techniques, I'm going to go over. Social networking sites, I'm going to go over. Next slide, please. So again, I'm going to be honest with you. I can customize these presentations depending upon my audience. So if it's an audience of, young, high school students about to go to college and they're looking for part-time work, I can customize this presentation for that. If it's for people who have been displaced, and they just need to get back out into the workforce, I can customize it for them. So right now what I'm giving you is very generic. So you're about to graduate, high school, college, whatever, you need to find a job. You've just graduated, you need to find a job. You just heard about a job opening in your ideal company, you want to apply. You just completed an internship and you want a job. Next slide, please. Those are just some of the situations. Grand scheme, you're trying to sell yourself. Again, a solid cover letter and resume can be the difference between being interviewed or looked over for a job. Think of how you wish to portray yourself on paper. I always tell people, when you are submitting your cover letter and resume, look at it and think, would I interview myself? Would I have called me if I saw this resume? Would I have called any of my friends or family if they weren't friends or family? If I was the recruiter or the hiring manager, would I interview myself? How are you going to make yourself stand out from the competition, right? If you're applying for receptionist positions and 3 people have receptionist experience, what sets you apart? What could set you apart is maybe you have handled more phone lines. Maybe you're not just a receptionist. Maybe you're the receptionist, but also you're the office manager as well. Maybe you're the receptionist who also handles client intakes, right? It can be those things that separate you. How do you sell that? And again, how are you going to demonstrate that, right? Because they're not with you at your job, so they can't see your work. But how are you going to present yourself? How are you going to package yourself in a way that makes you appealing to employers? Put yourself, again, in the mindset of the person hiring you. Next slide, please. What are the jobs? Corporate job sites. Again, LinkedIn is pretty known these days. External job boards. LinkedIn is known for professional, all kinds of jobs are there. Idealist.org is if you're interested in the nonprofit industry or NGO community, that's a great site to go to. Indeed.com is a little bit of everything. But I want to tell people, and you may want to share this with people, Indeed.com is an aggregator site. And what that means is that they pull jobs because they have malware and cookies that links onto other corporate websites, and it pulls the jobs to their site. So you may think an employer is posting their jobs with Indeed, but they're really not. Indeed is just driving the traffic to their site. Because ultimately you'll click on Indeed, then Indeed will route you to that employer's website, right? So they get the hit, but also so does that employer. Just a little inside information. How do you apply? Submit your resume and application electronically. I cannot tell you how many people do not read the job description on a website. If the job description says submit a cover letter and resume and you only submit a resume, I almost can promise you will not be called, right? Very important to read the steps of what they want you to do. I'll give you an example. For my agency, I request 4 documents: your cover letter, your resume, your unofficial college transcript, and a writing sample. If you do not submit all 4 of those documents, I'm pushing you to the side until I get to the people who did pay attention. Now, if I don't have enough people who paid attention, then I'll go back and look at those people, other people. But again, sometimes you only get one bite at the apple, right? Job boards allow you to create a candidate profile, which means that the application is being completed once. So if you apply for a job with Target, for example, you complete your profile with Target, and you can also set up in Target where any job that's similar to the job you applied to or any other departments you're interested in, you'll get an email that's generated to you. And now you already have that profile created with Target, so you can just kind of click that you want to apply to that job. Your resume and cover letter are probably already sitting there. You may want to tweak the cover letter to show what job you're applying to, but it then becomes very easy. I myself also hate applying to jobs online because sometimes the candidate profiles they want so much information. So I understand it's frustrating, but it's important to do if you're looking for employment. Job boards allow you to create a job agent, like I said. So you can, even with the city of New York, you can say these are, the positions you're interested in, departments or whatever, and you'll get emails telling you when those jobs are posted. Next slide, please. Your cover letter should highlight key items about your experience. We talked about that. No generic cover letters. Cover letters need to, I know employers have become very needy. They don't want to hear, I saw your position on LinkedIn and I would like to submit my resume. They want to hear, I saw the position of receptionist at XYZ company, and it appealed to me because of blah, blah, blah. They want you to incorporate them. They want to feel as though you're interested in not just the job, but in them as a brand. So you want to customize your cover letter as much as possible. And you also want to end on a positive note. Cover letters should kind of like a call to action at the end. It shouldn't say something like, you know, I will follow up with you. That's a little too pushy. You may want to end it with something more about, you know, I welcome the opportunity to speak with you at your earliest convenience, something like that. Okay. That's a little nicer. I've gotten cover letters where people are like, I'm going to call you on Thursday to follow up on my application. I'm like, don't call me. Okay. I have too many people, don't call me. So again, you can be positive, you know, without being pushy. Next slide, please. Resume writing. A resume reflects the experiences you have had and the accomplishments you have achieved. When you are young and new, you probably haven't accomplished too much. That is okay. Then you can talk about your skills, right? But when you're a seasoned professional, you want to talk about what you've accomplished. Maybe you've reduced the budget. Maybe you've increased something. Maybe you've created something, developed something. Action words, those are important. Use those action buzzwords. And again, if you're new to the workforce and you don't have any accomplishment, you could speak to your skill set, right? Maybe you type 90 words a minute. Maybe, you know, you have, I don't know, been a teacher's assistant in college, right? Maybe you were a valedictorian in high school, whatever it is, right? That speaks to maybe you having experience with public speaking. You have to figure out how to sell yourself, but sell yourself related to the job you're applying to, right? So, for example, if you're applying to be a barista, again, I'm just throwing that out there, Starbucks, because believe it or not, Starbucks is very particular about who they hire. Maybe you don't want to sell that, you know, I don't know, you worked in the liquor store, right? It's beverages, but it's not all the same. But if you have Dunkin' Donuts experience, that may be applicable, right? Same clientele to a degree. From the explicit, the hiring manager determines the implicit. It is not just what's on the lines of your resume that shows who you are. It's also what's between the lines, right? So when you leave some gaps, it's not a bad thing, but it leaves room for me as a recruiter to kind of dig deeper with you, a deeper dive into your experience. So write out your experience, but do not write everything, right? You want to be brief, so you want to pick maybe 3 things that you want to highlight. Save the other stuff to talk about in the interview, right? Those can be, you know, icebreakers in an interview. You don't want your resume to be overloaded with information. You want to leave something to the imagination, but you do want to put the great stuff about you. Let me see. Think about the situation and the position the employer's in. Yes, so please, I know no one cares, but believe it or not, I look at hundreds and hundreds, and by the end of the year, thousands of resumes, right? But sometimes I only have one job. So, you know, you have to remember it's important for your resume to jump out. There is something called a heat map for my eyes. For all of us who are in human resources, I can quickly look at a resume in 10 seconds. I could tell you if this resume is one that I would move forward with, right? And it's not that you weren't good. It's not that maybe you shouldn't have been on my radar. It's that I actually have someone who probably is a better fit. Maybe this person comes with more experience. Maybe this person comes with not just the experience I need today, but the experience I'm going to need for tomorrow as well. Hold on, guys. I don't want my battery to die. Next slide, please. Next slide. So here's some do's and don'ts, right? On your resume. Don't write out your life story. Believe it or not, I've had people do that. I'm 25. I grew up in blah, blah, blah. Nope. We're not supposed to care about that for all kinds of legal reasons. You don't want to put that out there. Write your resume in a language which is not the native tongue of your employer. So again, right, you have to know, right, if you're applying for a job in New York, right, we're speaking English, right? If you saw the job description in English, you probably should submit your resume in English, right? Colored fonts and borders. Please stop doing that. Everyone needs to stop. Unless you're applying for a job in a creative space, graphic design, something like that, color lines and borders, it speaks to immaturity. Don't use slang, okay? Spell out the word you. Please don't use the letter. Spell out the word why. Please don't use the letter. And again, check for grammatical errors. Listing hobbies. That was something that was very 90s. We no longer do that. Okay? And don't lie on your resume. Please put your contact information. All right? I've had candidates who have sent resumes and it is just their name. They don't put their email, their phone number, nothing. Okay? Please put it. I know a lot of people are concerned with identity theft, but if you are applying to reputable companies, you probably have nothing to worry about. Okay? And if you're not going to put your address, and some people don't want to put their where they live because they think it's going to disqualify them. That is illegal. Okay? And it's not that employers are doing that. I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen. I know it does happen. But again, if you're applying to reputable companies, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Professional email address. The email addresses are free. No one should be, sending emails that says, golden tool for you at AOL.com. Please don't do that. Okay? Use your name, your initials, whatever. Don't make them too long. Don't make them like a hobby email type address. Get a professional email address. Create one with your name. Again, they're free. And please, I would encourage everyone to use Gmail. When you use AOL, MSN, Outlook, it's not that those things aren't great email accounts. What it is, I'm going to be honest with you, it just ages you. It just gives an employer insight into how old you are. And again, I'm going to tell you, ageism is real. People are not going to admit it, but it is real. And it's real in the reverse as well. There are some employers who, don't pick certain candidates because they think they're too young. Okay? Your school, put your school name, put your major. If you're freshly, new graduate, I would say put the year. Absolutely share your GPA. If your GPA is under 3.0, then don't share your GPA. Okay? You could talk about it in an interview. You can explain whatever. It doesn't mean you'll be disqualified. But again, the goal from the resume review is to get you in the door for the interview. List your languages that you speak. That is important. New York is a melting pot. We love multiple languages. We love it. We love it. It speaks to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We love it. List all of your computer skills. Okay? Job experience, we talked about. The address of the employers you work for, you don't have to put, but you may want to put the borough and the state. Your dates of employment should be accurate. If you are not sure, I would encourage you to reach out to your former employer and make sure. And again, if you're a seasoned professional, you may want to list not just what you do, but your accomplishments. Again, if you are someone who's new to the workforce, then stick to your skill set. Next slide, please. Concept time, what to write. How to present the information impacts the way it is received by the employer. For instance, your interest and commitment to a job shows in the way you word your job responsibility. We talked about this, buzzwords, right? Active words, right? Your strengths, highlight your strengths. Developed, created, maintained, managed, those type of things. Someone who uses active words and is precise and concise will certainly be seen as someone better than someone who's long-winded, right? So you don't want, again, to have your resumes, too wordy where, you're describing something you did, but it's a wraparound sentence. Try and avoid that. Next slide, please. How you organize your information will get you bonus points with your hiring manager. Keep your hiring manager in mind. Always remember the person who's viewing your resume most likely may be more seasoned than you, have tons of resumes that they're looking at. So keep them in mind. So I also said to say, please don't make your fonts too small. Your font at a minimum should be, I would go with 12 points, but depending upon the particular font you pick, no smaller than 11. Okay? Organize it in a way that, again, chronological order. If you're, again, a new college graduate or graduate from some sort of vocational program, that should be the first thing on your resume. All right? We should know that, especially if a job has a certain educational requirement. You definitely want to highlight that. Nothing worse than loving a resume to get down to the bottom and find out the person can't get the job because they don't meet the educational requirements. Okay? Your name and address, we talked about that already. List your work and internship experience. If you have internship experience, it is valuable. List it. You can use your references from your internship experience. There are a lot of interns, believe it or not, who go on to get those full-time jobs. So absolutely use it. Next slide, please. Interviewing, hiring managers, right? We talked about that. Error-free resumes. Answer the questions asked and articulate yourself with passion. I would avoid giving more than what is necessary when asked a particular question. Look for body cues from the person that's interviewing you so you know when to start and stop. I always tell people to use this acronym STAR. Describe a situation you were in. What was the task you were asked to do? What was the action you took? And what was the end result? If you follow that format when you're answering an interview question, you should be okay. Okay? Questions that you should not ask. Okay? Do not ask salary questions on the first interview. It's in poor taste. Okay? You should find out why the role is open. Did someone get promoted? Did someone get laid off? Is it a new position? Right? Because if it's a new position, that company could be growing. If someone got promoted, that's great because that means there's room for growth in that organization. If someone left, maybe figure out why did they leave. Maybe that might be something to talk about, right? Maybe it's a position that, this role is this role and there is no opportunity for growth in this role, but they need someone to do the job. Ask about the department. How large is the department? What's the average length and tenure of an employee in that department, right? These are all icebreakers. And trust me, employers, they are happy to share these things with you because transparency is important because if you know what you're walking into, you know exactly what to expect. Next slide, please. Again, some more do's and don'ts. Be prepared. Show up on time. Please don't show up 30 minutes early. I would say no more than 15 minutes early because you want to give yourself time just in case you walk into a building and have to show security ID and stuff like that, but not too much earlier because most places, especially now with COVID, definitely won't have a place for you to kind of sit and hang around, right? Bring a hard copy of your resume. Never just rely on the fact that you submitted it online. Always bring a fresh copy of your resume with you. Dress professionally, okay? Research the company. Ask questions. Never leave an interview and they say, so do you have any questions for us? And you say, no, I actually don't. Always have one or two questions, okay? Follow up with a thank you email. Employers love thank you emails. I'm going to be honest with you. I actually don't like them, but my hiring managers always love them. But again, I look at much more resumes, right? Do not wear perfume or cologne. I promise you, you do not know if that person is allergic. And I had a hiring manager years ago who was pregnant. And every time a candidate came in with perfume and cologne on, it made her so sick. So I would avoid that. Arrive late. Do not arrive late and not too early. Please turn your cell phone off. None of us are curing cancer. If you're going for a job interview, vibrate is not good enough. No one wants to hear it vibrate. Turn it off. Don't call HR more than once per week to follow up for an interview. Do not name drop. All right? That's the worst thing you can do. You could say, someone will say, so how did you hear about the position? Oh, well, I know so-and-so. I promise you why you shouldn't do that. You don't know if that person is well-liked. Okay? And trust me, it happens. Do not bring up salary during the first interview. Okay? It's not the time. The second and final round interviews are the time to discuss money, not the first interview. Next slide, please. Next slide. Social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. You know the saying, say it, forget it, write it, regret it, right? You don't never have to provide your login and password to any prospective employer. It is illegal. We're not allowed to ask you for that. Don't post distasteful photos of yourself on any social media networking sites. I'll give you an example. Fresh Direct is hiring truck drivers to deliver their food. You have applied to Fresh Direct. Your profile picture is you throwing back a bottle of Hennessy. Fresh Direct is not going to hire you. You are a liability, right? You may go to church every Sunday and take care of the elderly on your free days, but that picture alone is going to give them pause. And some people think, well, my social media is private. It may be, but if you were tagged in that picture, your friend's social media page may not be private, in which case then they're seeing it there, okay? So be careful with that. Let me see, LinkedIn, some do's. Check your privacy settings, like I said. Yes, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn all have become very popular for finding jobs. There are a lot of employers have really now started hiring, posting their jobs on Twitter and Facebook. It's much more common now than it was about 5 years ago. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, I suggest everyone that they create one. Because, again, it is the premier site these days. They have the lion's share of jobs being posted there. Use social media networking professional feeder accounts such as Branch Out, things like that. There are lots of groups that you can find. If you're looking for an executive position, executive assistant position, if you're on LinkedIn, they have groups for that where people just kind of post jobs. You can find all those things there. Research the companies that you're applying to. You should know something about their brand. Next slide. Thank you. I'm done. Sorry, guys.
I loved it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Love your personality in your sweatshirt.
Thank you. I had coffee today. Any questions?
Miguel, do you
I
have...
actually had my daughter listening in, and the first thing she did was started laughing when you said, please have a professional email, because she just couldn't get over it.
Yeah, Maria, I'm going to just take this off, all right, so everyone can see each other.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Miguel. I agree. I think the presentation was fantastic. I'm glad that we both agree on a lot of points that was made. I too have seen a great deal of resumes and seen people that are looking for employment make a whole host of mistakes. And just like this presentation, when you sit down with them and you educate them, they realize, all the errors, and the next time they go to a job interview, they realize how much better the interview was. So great presentation, right? Just simply a great presentation.
Thank you.
And the board depends on Miguel when we talk to a lot of the companies. We do refer Miguel to a lot of the companies for the hiring. So I think that somewhere along the way, Miguel, you might want to sit with LaShawn and you could pick each other's brains.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And help each other because that's the only way. And I know Larry has a slew of people, and he's always asking, why didn't this person get elected? Why didn't this person get picked? Why did this person went over here?
That's right.
And a lot of times has to do with what LaShawn just stated. You go in, you dress professionally. You go in, you got errors on your resume. So I think that there's things that you both can pick on each other and work it out so like that we can then attract a lot more workers into our community. One thing that I learned out of this, I'm not wearing any more cologne.
Right. Well, Ms. Lindsay made a great point. She made a great point about there was a young lady who was being called for a position, only to realize that the number that was on the resume had been disconnected. Right. And luckily they were able to get to me, and I was able to get to her. And she was wondering, no one's calling me back. I said, yeah, because you have the wrong information on your resume. So that aspect that Ms. Lindsay brought up is 100% correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
LaShawn. I'm sorry. LaShawn, this is Felvis. My daily job, I do recruiting for a security agency. And a lot of what you were saying was totally spot on. A lot of our younger generation are not coming prepared for their jobs. And another thing that I'm seeing, and that is really a real challenge, is a lot of the older generation, they're having a hard time because a lot of jobs nowadays are fully digital. So they have a hard time because they're not used to going to the email or even just applying for a job online. They're used to the paper and the pen. So this presentation was really spot on, LaShawn. Good job.
No, great. And again, like I said, I can customize this, so for that community that needs more help with understanding, the digital mindset of how to apply for jobs, can totally do a whole presentation on that, right? And help people understand so they don't miss opportunities. So whatever is needed, I'm happy to be of assistance.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So just real quickly, because I've been working with a gentleman for the last couple of months and trying to get him employed. Unfortunately, the gentleman had a criminal background. Do you have anything, Ms. Lindsay, in regards to any presentations regarding that? It took us about 2 months, but we finally got him working. The gentleman, had did a number of years in prison, but definitely wanted to work, and there was a great deal of hand holding and paperwork that we needed to put together to get him to be interviewed.
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually do. A few years
Excellent.
ago, I did presentations for Friends of Island Academy for the young people who are on Rikers Island, and I also did for a nonprofit that I think was called Defy. That worked with those who were incarcerated who now were coming home, who were home,
right.
wanting to be entrepreneurs. So yeah, absolutely. I have to probably just dig in my crates to pull it out and probably update it. But absolutely.
No
a lot
Excellent.
of, some people who have, criminal backgrounds, it's just knowing their rights. I'm going to tell you guys I'm going to tell you a very quick story. I worked for an entertainment company, and I'm not going to name the company, but we had an intern there who we offered her the position, and she had a little bit of something in her background she was a nanny, and she had been giving the babies drugs to put them to sleep.
Jesus.
And when we ran her background, legally, we have to first make sure it's her. So we have to go to her, and she said, yes, it is her, but she knew her rights, because you know what she told us? And I said either she has a lawyer in her family or she has an HR professional in her family. She wrote a letter saying that the job she was being considered for with us had nothing to do with kids. So legally, we could not disqualify her. It's called disparate impact, and it is true. Unfortunately, a lot of minorities, we don't know that, right? If I have jumped the turnstile, but now I'm an accountant, one has nothing to do with the other.
That's right.
Right? That's right. It has to apply to the position. So if I have statutory rape, but now I want to work in school, I can't do that.
That's right.
Right? I can't work with children. So again, it's about empowering, because knowing your rights doesn't mean you're arrogant about it. But employers, they know you know your rights. They handle you differently.
And not only that, the individuals, like that gentleman that was in prison, there's a lot of experience you bring out of prison that they don't really realize. Sometimes they work in the laundry department in prison, and they know about laundry. They know some of them do administrative work in jail, and even though they don't get paid a lot of money, that's all part of the experience.
Here's the thing: a lot of employers get tax breaks for hiring people who have either recently are on unemployment, of over 40 years of age, or on welfare. Maybe recently were released from prison. They get special tax breaks for that.
And Ralph, I think that this is something, because talking with LaShawn and hearing about that guy in jail, I think this is something we may want to bring up to the BP's office, because I know he's got a reentry program, but I don't know if he's got the mechanisms to help in these issues of in the reentry program. And maybe
I'm sure he does. But you're right. I think it's something that we could mention, and I want to acknowledge for those on the phone. I think it's just Miguel, and I think he has his screen. He can see, but we have Ms. Belinda Simmons, who works for the Commission of Human Rights, and she's giving a lot of good information also on the chat about things that LaShawn is bringing up. So I just want to acknowledge that. But yeah, you're right, Bobby. It's something that we can at least, like this is a public meeting, it's being recorded. LaShawn, I hope if someone asks me for that presentation, I have to give it out to them. I hope you're aware of that, because it is a public meeting. But I think it's something that
she didn't know that at the beginning.
You mean you have to give it to them?
10
slides. It would have been like 5 slides, right? I get you.
It's
great information. So
it's a requirement of all open meetings.
Any presentations,
discussed. We have to share that information.
It's a public meeting, So if anyone asks me for it, I'll have to.
What we could do is then refer them to you, so that you could probably help them out.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, because I don't want my name out there and everybody, and I would have.
We'll protect you from the CCRB. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, cool. This was really great conversation after the presentation also. So
yes.
I don't know, Maria.
Okay, well, yes, thank you very much for that, and thank you for everybody else for paying attention and getting all the good parts out of that. So thank you. I see from the agenda before there really wasn't anything else after that. It was old business or new business?
There wasn't. Yeah, I have a new business, I guess, I want to mention, or an announcement, so just let me know when we're ready. And Larry, you got to mute yourself because you're coming in. Whatever you're doing, I'm going to have to mute you because the background noise is you. Thank you, Larry. There we go. Much better. See? So
all I would like is for Miguel at the, some way or another, try and get through with LaShawn and work something out. Really, I would like to see that happen.
Yes.
Well, they're both on this committee. They're both on this committee. So it's and even Delvis for that matter, right? Delvis does,
I agree. Delvis too,
recruiting.
I forgot,
So we have a good array of people here. And I'm happy that Larry is here, because for the youth, but a lot of this will apply, unfortunately, for people probably older than 30, that experience hardship now with the pandemic. So it's something where it applies to all ages. This is something that don't discriminate because of your age. So, good thing. So, Maria, I do have an announcement. So, back, as a matter of fact, when we were doing the turkey giveaway at the point, Councilmember Salamanca was there, and he mentioned to me that he's going to do a street co-naming in honor of the rapper Fred the Godson, who tragically died of COVID during the pandemic. So Fred the Godson is a native of our parts. I thought it was going to be somewhere in Ward 1 because I knew he lived on 156 and like a Union, 156. So I can't remember the exact street. However, I found out that it's going to be on Leggett and Kelly, and it's going to be next month. So this was something that the council member expedited on his own. And I know that when we do street co-namings, I know it goes through this committee. So I just wanted to announce that we are going to have a street co-naming. I think under the circumstances, why it was expedited, I could understand. I think that the date that they picked is Fred the Godson's birthday. So, so I just wanted to make sure that this committee is aware of that because normally street co-namings, even though the council makes the final call, they always get the recommendation from the board first. And I think under the circumstances, the council member just expedited this on his own, but he did bring it to my attention, and I want to bring it to everyone's attention here. There were no issues with the 41st precinct. I know we always have issues doing background checks on particular celebrities, right? Just to make sure that there's no issues. There were no issues with Fred the Godson. It's actually his wife, his whole family are supporting this. And, so I just wanted to bring that up. And if needed, I guess we can have them come because I think it's late February. I'll invite his wife to the next ECHO meeting just so that, we can, I guess, formally meet her, or, things along those lines. So I just wanted to bring that up.
That's a discussion between you and Maria. If Maria wants to entertain that, that's not a problem with me. You know my position on that situation when you shared it with me, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I respect the councilman wholeheartedly, and with every good intentions that I have in my heart and soul. But sometimes, I understand that time is of essence, and at least he let you know what was going on. And it would have been nice for Maria and myself to have known this. This way, we wouldn't be coming in from the cold. Even though it's going to be cold next month.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like I said, I think it was just like you mentioned yourself, the time of the essence, and just exactly where. So it is in Board 2. He was born and raised in front of the building on Kelly and Leggett. And And he was very well liked, and he gave back to Hunts Point in particular. I think Maria will know that also. So he was like a native of ours all along. So I'm happy that they actually are doing it here and not where he was currently living. He's doing it where he was born and raised at. So good stuff.
You don't have the date and time, right?
I think it's February. It's a Monday. Bear with me. February 22nd, I'm going to say. Monday, February 22nd. I think that's his birthday. That's the date. And apparently, Spike Lee, director from Brooklyn, is making a documentary about, I don't know if it's about the pandemic, but I know it's about New York City. And Fred the Godson is featured in this documentary that's about to come out. And from my understanding, Spike Lee may be there also at the street co-naming, filming, or somebody might be there filming on his behalf or something along those lines. But
Ralph, just do us all a favor and get us the actual date and time. We already know the location.
It's Monday the 22nd. I think that's the date and time, if I'm not mistaken.
Rob,
it's
do
a
you know
Monday.
if he's going to do a street closure? Because I can guarantee you he had a lot of following.
Yeah. So Officer Socola and Officer Maldonado are aware. They followed up with the wife. And then tomorrow is a walkthrough that they're going to have at the location. It should take 15 minutes or so, just so that they can really see, because the 4-1, the wife, the council member. And I'm going to, you know what?
Time.
After this conversation, I'll be there tomorrow also.
What time?
12:30.
At that particular corner?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try. I'm gonna try and see if I can make it also.
Okay.
All right.
Enough.
Walk right there.
All right.
Because it's
You can walk there. It's a couple of blocks.
I don't walk.
It's gonna be 50 degrees tomorrow. It'll be nice, right?
Yeah.
Bobby, you always ask me how you start.
No.
Yeah. All right, Madam Chair. So that was my announcement. Also, I want to acknowledge one more thing. I'm sorry. I want to acknowledge Effie from DEP, because Effie sat on our environmental committee, and since we dissolved that committee, all those items and issues that would have come up goes to this committee. And Effie and Erica from DOHMH, they're like, I'm not going to say consultants, but they're like standing committee members for environmental. So we kindly asked Effie to come to this meeting if she can, because we're going to be entertaining any environmental issues under the municipality component of this committee. So I just want to acknowledge Effie, and thank you so much for coming, Effie.
Thank you, Ralph. Thanks so much, and thank you for having me. Some of the faces are familiar, like Maria. I met her, so it's good to see you, Maria, again. And thank you, and just keep in touch with me on any DP issues. Since the pandemic has happened, our crews have been out there addressing emergencies. It's been nonstop. We address whatever issues have come up. So anything you need, just keep in touch with me on that. Thank you.
Effie, I just want to say I'm glad we still ain't lost you. That's the good thing. Yeah, we need you there.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bob.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. It was good to see you, Effie. For some reason, I thought DT was going to be presenting, and then you'd have to, have a whole big long argument or something like that. But no. And it's good to see you. And
with who?
I'm back. Environmental. We're back at it. So that's cool. But
we have a lot of history.
Yes,
decades of history,
yeah.
right? We're family.
Yeah. All right.
He's a good partner. So glad to see you here. And thank you, Ralph, for sending those folks my way. So maybe now I'll have parks again, right? Let's see. Okay.
Yes. Yes. If Mike Ortiz also sat on that committee, the Bronx River Alliance, Rockin' the Boat, and the Point, obviously. So, so any items that are coming up environmental, Danielle or Cynthia or myself will reach out to them just to make them aware of that. So.
Okay.
Ralph, just let them know that they're going into municipalities also.
That's it's not under the economic development, but remember, this is also 2 committees, economic development / municipality.
Right.
So all those items will fall under the, yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chair, you're exactly right with that.
Send them an email stating that.
I already did that. I did that when we dissolved the environmental.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Yeah, and then Roland
Roland
wants to go to health. I think Roland, the chair of that committee, he wanted to go to health. So Roland went to health.
Yeah.
And LaShawn, thank you once again for that presentation, LaShawn.
Okay. It's 6:52, and if there's any other announcements, anyone?
Motion.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Crespo is making a motion.
And second.
He's the ex officio also.
To adjourn.
Elvis could motion and then someone else could second it.
Yeah.
I second the motion.
Bobby, I want to say something.
I second the motion.
Yeah, Larry.
We're adjourned.
Yes, Larry.
I was informed about the street closures that's happening.
What street closures?
With the congestion. We're not having no street closures that's popping up. I saw it online.
I'm aware of. Oh,
whoa. Email. He's talking about the email.
DOT's closing down some streets for construction, Larry. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, they are saying that they're willing to give $500 to a nonprofit organization or a block association.
Oh, Larry, you're confusing so much stuff here right now, Larry. So DOT sent an email about street closures. Now, what you're referring to is Law and Order is going to be filming something. Okay. And we sent that to the executive officers only to determine if we want to do it to a nonprofit. And we have not heard back from anyone as of today.
I got you. Okay. Okay. Because I would like to.
Go ahead, Larry.
I would like to suggest that we look at our 2 nonprofit organizations on that side of town, and that would be the Point and HPAC. If they go get the $500 to anybody, it should go to one of them.
Yeah, and I
just a suggestion.
Larry, do me a favor. I did get an email from Barbara Alicia today. All right, just if the email that I sent you, if you can respond to it, so just that we can have it documented correctly. It's here in the meeting now. And it's being recorded. But send it to me via email, and then I'll have Cynthia follow up with that, and then we can follow up with the Point also. We can do that tomorrow. That'd be great.
Thank you.
All right.
Are we playing the good guys in this one?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Are we playing the good guys in this one and not the bad guys?
Law and Order. Very, very few people get away with whatever crime they committed on Law and Order. So, yeah. They're going to be back there at the DEP plant, Effie. They're going to be back there. So, no. They're not. They're on Halleck Street. They're somewhere on Halleck Street.
They're going to actually be by Nick Mario's place.
Yeah, they're going to be over there. Yeah. So, Larry, just send me that email, please, even though it's documented now. All right. And then the chair also agreed with you. The chair seconded your motion. But I just wanted. That was only sent to the executive officers, and we do try our best to keep everyone as transparent. But that was something that I was not going to make a decision solely on my own. I don't operate like that. That's why you guys are here, representing the community. So that was the whole point of that. So, okay, Madam Chair, I think we already had a motion.
One more thing. To Miss Lindsay, go Beavers.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
I know that's the mascot for CCNY.
Oh, you know what?
I went to CCNY. Just want to let you know that. CCNY, go Beavers.
That's what happens when you work full time and go to school in the evening. You don't have the luxury of knowing those little things. Thank you.
Okay.
Now I know. I feel smart already.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
so we were in the process of adjourning, and so with that being said, Mr. Crespo made the motion, Selva seconded, and so now we are officially adjourned at 6:56 p.m. Again, thank everyone for their time, and see you at the full board meeting on February
Executive Committee.
27th, Wednesday,
27th.
2 weeks from now.
The
2 weeks
Executive
from now.
Committee.
And we'll see everybody at the executive committee. We'll see everybody else at the full board. The executive
Thank you.
at the executive.
All right.
Everybody,
Okay, this meeting is over. I'm stopping the recording. Good night, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Good night.